please sit by, if you would, because I'm about to bring in your colleague there in Washington, D.C., Chris Wallace, anchor of Fox News Sunday. Chris, always good to see you as well. You know, I know this process in what's next is a ceremony later today. What happens?
Well, they basically take the documents and they, you know, in this electronic world in which we live in, where information can travel across the country, across the world in a millisecond, they are literally going to take the documents, put them, I think, in a wooden box and walk them across the Capitol from the House side through the rotunda over to the Senate side, where they will be taken by a Senate official, brought to the front, and the articles of impeachment will be read. So anybody who likes ceremony is going to have plenty of that. What really struck me just now, Harris, is this split screen there on the one hand, and we had it here on Fox, where on the one hand you had the President of the United States signing an important trade deal with China, phase one, as he calls it, trying to ease up the struggle between the two countries over trade. But on the other screen, we had the House of Representatives, a majority, strict party line vote of Democrats, voting to impeach this president, to set up a trial for his removal. And we're going to see this over and over again, it seems likely, in the next few weeks, where the president is going to be going about his business while the Senate debates whether or not he should remain as president. And there's a better than even chance that when the president gives his State of the Union speech to the joint session of Congress in early February, that the trial in the Senate whether to remove him will still be going on, as happened with Bill Clinton in 1999.
So what about reports, Chris, that the president might want to listen to some urging to push that date back? It's set for February 4th right now. And would he consider doing that?
I don't know whether he'd consider doing it. There are some Republicans in Congress who have suggested doing that it would be better for the president to be able to speak after they believe he will be acquitted, and to be able to proclaim to the Congress and to the country and to the world that he has been exonerated. But, you know, as I say, Bill Clinton decided to go on with the business of the country, even though the trial was going on. And it's not a bad political move for a president who obviously is going to be campaigning against Democrats to say, here's my agenda for the country, here's what I want to do in a second term, and not to be in any way give weight to the fact that the House has set in motion the Senate trial.
You know, we didn't miss it. It wasn't just the optics of the president signing this deal with China and phase one and talking trade. And I mean, there was a long lead up. He had guests in the White House that he wanted to recognize. I mean, some of the best known names in the American economy right now in terms of corporations, so on and so forth. But it was that moment where he signed, and Nancy Pelosi, the House Speaker, was reading the 7 managers that will take over the articles of impeachment, carry them over with those representatives from the House, as you mentioned as well, 5 p.m. Eastern today. We'll cover it live here on Fox. Those two moments were on the screen at the same time, Chris.
In fact, the signing ceremony seemed to go on for an unusually long period of time, and I was wondering whether someone was, and this was just in my head, I don't have no reason to believe it was true, was sort of hoping that he would outlast the Speaker Pelosi's speech so he could continue, and maybe we would switch back full screen to his signing ceremony and the official business of his administration to kind of put an end stop, a full stop on what the House is doing. I want to just talk, if I could briefly, Harris, about the Speaker Pelosi's delay, the month delay in sending over the articles of impeachment, because I think you can see it two ways. If the purpose was to force Mitch McConnell to bow to her will and to agree to call witnesses and to get more documents, then it was a total failure. There's no question about it. She didn't do that.
Well, he told her it would be. No one doubted that he wasn't going to bend. I mean, he told her it would be.
Right. But, and here's my point. Because of that, you had a month where the whole question of witnesses was debated at length, and you've got 3 or 4 Republicans who are now on the record not necessarily saying they're going to vote for witnesses, but saying they'll at least consider whether to vote for witnesses, like Mitt Romney, like Lamar Alexander, like Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins. So I think the bottom line may be, if you're talking about who won, there's no question that Mitch McConnell won. But if you're saying, is it more or less likely now that there is going to be a vote to call witnesses, I think it's more likely because of her delay.
So interesting. And our count on the show was up to 6 yesterday. You know, I just wonder, like you just said, that doesn't necessarily translate into a full vote, though, on the Senate floor once the trial is over. That's only about the witnesses. A quick last word. And, of course, I'm going to ask you to stand by.
Well, yeah, no, there's 2 points here. One, it's a vote on witnesses, and there's an increasing push by Republicans saying, look, let's have reciprocity here. If the Democrats get to call a witness, John Bolton, we get to call a witness, Hunter Biden. So, you know, there's going to be this kind of mutually assured destruction.
A 1-1 match.
Yes, exactly. And whatever happens there, unless there is a huge piece of evidence that a Bolton or a Mulvaney or somebody else delivers, the basic view in Washington, the conventional wisdom, and I think the smart money would be on the idea that they're not going to get anywhere near the 20 Republican defections they would need. So in the end, the president will not be removed from office.
Chris Wallace, again, please stay close by because we'll come right back to you. I want to bring in now our colleague Martha McCallum, anchor of The Story. Martha.